All right, hey guys, Hou Yin here. I am actually the country director of Gushcloud Malaysia. Gushcloud is actually a digital talent agency that's based in Southeast Asia. I would say, we are currently the largest because we have presence in actually 10 countries. Among some of these 10 countries include the likes of the US. We have an office in LA. We have a very strong hold in Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand. And most recently, we're also in the markets of China. So we are quite active in the digital talent scene. And I think today, I first of all want to thank the Ministry of Youth and Sports in Malaysia, as well as Esports Integrated, for inviting me to give you guys some presentation. Hope you guys have something that you can take away from today's talk. And without further ado, I will share some of the things I want to share and yeah, have fun. Okay, so it's important for us to kind of understand and really ingrain it to our head that things are not the same as they used to be. We are currently living in a digital economy, and what that means is there's only going to be more and more projects available for that are digital-based services. 7 years ago, when we first started in Malaysia, influencer marketing as a whole was not very common, neither was it something that was popular. It took a lot from us to convince people that influencer marketing was one of the things they should buy in, and to even explain to them how it works, and even to explain to them some of the benefits that these brands can get was very, very challenging. I could still remember one of our first campaigns that we ever did was with Samsung, and back then they were very, very bullish on this whole idea of influencer marketing. And up till now, big brands and every other big brand that we know, including your likes of Nestle and Unilever, which are some of our clients, have been very, very active in the space of influencer marketing, and they have been very active for the last 3 to 4 years. So it's not something that we're going to see go away for at least another decade or so. I think things will evolve depending on the platform. But specifically today, I want you to really understand some of the things that we see that is going to be happening within the esports industry, not just for esports as a competition, but for gaming content creation as a whole. So you can see in the next slide, I wanted to show you a little bit of the digital economy in Southeast Asia. So right now, based on the reports that we are getting from Google, Temasek, and Bain and Company, 70% of Southeast Asia's population is actually online, right? This is a huge number compared to many, many years ago. I think this number was a lot more lower than what it is currently. With the help of cheaper devices, better internet connectivity, better access to a whole load of content globally, Southeast Asia is definitely one of the fastest growing regions within the digital space that is actually sort of leading the space within the industry, right? An average of 4.2 hours are spent online daily, which is huge. And this varies upon all the different platforms that are available, including the likes of your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then specifically for gaming, you will be looking a little bit more towards Facebook, Google, and even platforms like Twitch. On towards the next slide, we see the global advertising phenomenon as something that's very, very interesting and we should pay attention to. And what comes after the fact that a lot of people are going online is that advertisers are also going to shift online. I think from the last 2 to 3 years in Malaysia, I would say about 40 to 50% of their advertising budget was still very much focused on traditional. I think we see that number growing to anywhere from the likes of 60 to 80% year on year. So even for this year, I believe most of my clients are actually a little bit more focused on digital rather than traditional. But of course, big brands would still have a big presence within the traditional advertising space because they are massive players, whereas the smaller brands would typically leverage more on the online advertising side because it just makes a lot more sense for your money that you're spending, and targeting is also way better when you have a limited budget, right? So you see 2017 we also 40.3%, at 2018 you're up by 6%, 2019 another roughly about 5.6%, and then up to close to 60% in 2020, and then in 2021 we're definitely expecting about 61%. So you can see the numbers are huge, right? So the next question comes to you and asks, why do you want to leverage on gaming content? I think gaming content is very unique than all of the other lifestyle entertainment content a lot of people are familiar with. I think gaming content or gaming specifically has a very strong community that's a little bit more loyal than the lifestyle type of community. And we'll go a little bit deeper into why gaming content is not necessarily just for gaming brands, but also a lot of lifestyle brands have a lot of benefit. Okay, so why should we leverage on gaming content? See, as the number of gamers grow, which is at an 8.5% compound annual rate over the next 5 years, there's going to be a lot more mobile gamer users in Southeast Asia. And this number we predict, or within the stats that we've been exposed to, will actually rise to 250 million by this year, which means that by the end of this year, we are expecting 250 million total online mobile gamers within the user base, and which is a huge number to even begin with, right? And then when we look into the hours that they're spending on these platforms, you'll be even amazed at the different advertising opportunities that you can actually leverage on, see, from an advertiser's point of view. And if you see in the following stats, 2 out of the top 5 YouTube channels with the most subscribers worldwide are gaming related. And of course, one of the top ranked ones is someone called PewDiePie, which I'm sure as a gamer, you would be familiar with him. I can't remember the other one, but 2 out of the 5 shows you that gaming content, not just within the YouTube space, but in general, the advertising space is huge, right? You see more and more gaming content being produced because there are more and more gaming fans, and there are more and more people consuming gaming content as a whole. So in 2020, the gaming content actually, or gaming content in general, actually clocked about 100 billion watch time hours on YouTube. And 100 billion is a lot specifically for one category. I mean, not comparing towards a lifestyle, fashion, and beauty, but these 100 billion watch time is very focused on the game. They're highly focused, right, compared to lifestyle communities. And like I said, the gaming community is very, very tight within this sort of industry. So worldwide, anything with regards to gaming, you're kind of a strong advocate for gaming. So if you are specifically searching for a piece of content, you tend to be a little more focused on the content rather than industries like fashion and beauty, which can vary a lot because there are a lot of competitors, and the space is just way too huge for you to be loyal to a certain brand. Okay, next one. Okay, so going into Malaysia in a nutshell, I have a couple of things that I want to share with you guys. Of course, the first thing is there's a really strong growth of gaming influencers in Malaysia. I would say they are mainly consist of streamers on Facebook Live, and a fair share of gaming creators are actually also on YouTube. So if you can refer to the picture on the right, this gentleman's name is called Solos. He goes by Solos Gaming on Facebook. He is a top tier content creator or gaming content creator in Malaysia. And at the same time, he's also a top esports player within the Malaysian competitive space of Mobile Legends. And because of his success in the professional space, he was able to be a very, very strong content creator or very popular content creator within the Facebook space as well. And then the next question comes, do you have to be a competitive player in order to be a good content creator? Not necessarily. Competitive players obviously are popular because they are very, very skilled players. But at the same time, a lot of content creators that we see within the space are also a little bit more based on entertainment, not so much on skill based. So you see players who are good commentators, players who are funny, players who write on challenges, also become good content creators, regardless of the fact that they may not be as skilled as their counterparts, such as solos, right? And the second part is, while I do think there's a rapid increase in creators, I think major brands, and I know this personally because we've had opportunities to sponsor a few KOLs for gaming, but a lot of them didn't go through, especially when you ask or encourage brands to sponsor streams. I think it's not something that they're used to, number one. Number two is I think major brands are still not as comfortable with streaming things that are live, or they are still not as comfortable in terms of engaging the online gaming community. I think they're a little bit more comfortable with your usual Instagram KOL or your lifestyle creators or even your tech creators more so than the gaming creators. So that's something that you can kind of take away from today, that there is a strong level of gaming creators in Malaysia, but that does not necessarily mean that brands are actively spending money on them. Okay. So next question, which I get a lot as well, not just within the gaming community, but I get a lot of questions asking me, how do I generate income as an influencer? Or how do I generate income as a content creator, right? So obviously, other than the main things like winning tournaments or even getting esports sponsorships, there are few streams of income that I can personally advocate for within the gaming influencer scene. And one of them is actually the Facebook Level Up and Partners program. So Facebook has always been known to be a great supporter in terms of streaming gaming content within their platform. This has been apparent for years already, right? We used to manage a gaming influencer called Yingze, which is the lady on the right. She is a top gaming creator and cosplayer. So knowing her a little bit more and communicating with her during our time, I also understand that she is a big part of the Facebook Partners program, where actually Facebook incentivizes her to ensure that she streams X amount of hours every week. I can't go into exact details on the agreement, but from what I can understand, Facebook has a very strong support program for a lot of gamers to actually start. And if you can produce certain amount of views or certain amount of engagements within a week or within each video, and if you can do every month, I think there's a good chance that you can actually be part of their partners program. So even if you're not part of their partners program, they also have Level Up, which is a program where a lot of your fans can actually donate money to you or give you, I would say, um, sort of like e-credits within the Facebook space. Is something that you can read up a little bit more. But this is also, although the money might not be very fast, but this is also a very likely stream of income that you can depend on. And like I said, I want to repeat again, this is the Facebook Level Up and Partners program. And other than that, there are also obviously branded streams and postings. Branded streams is where the brands actually sponsor your stream. So, for example, I can give you a great example. For example, if you are doing a 6 hour live stream on, let's say, Mobile Legends, right? And of course, no one can go 6 hours playing without feeling thirsty or without feeling hungry. So, that's a great opportunity for beverage brands or food brands to come in, right? For example, let's say KitKat decides to sponsor the entire stream. So they might pay you X amount of money to an influencer that the entire stream will actually be sponsored by KitKat. So maybe every 1 hour or 2 hour interval, you actually get a shout out from KitKat for KitKat that is done by the influencer. Could be a new product that they are trying to push, could be just a reminder that, they want to build this awareness that every time you're hungry, you should grab a bar or KitKat. So there are a lot of ways where brands can actually tap onto postings, and we do see some of that happening, although not very often. So influencers can also expect to get branded streams of posting as a secondary income. Thirdly is if you are also into the YouTube space, which I know a lot of gaming creators are, other than Facebook, which is the main platform, you could also unlock yourself to YouTube AdSense. YouTube AdSense basically awards you for the number of views that you gain every month. There's no real way of calculating it, but what I can say is if you average anywhere from 500,000, if you can get it there, 500,000 to 1 million every video, and you do 4 videos a month, which brings it up to anywhere from 2 million to 4 million. I think you can get a decent AdSense return of anywhere from 15,000 ringgit to about 20,000 ringgit. I think that's quite likely. So there's no way of calculating it, but just know that if you can build strong view base within YouTube, you also will get access to AdSense, right? And then last but not least, you also have official game partners. that will allow you to earn affiliated earnings. Like for example, personally, I know that a lot of creators within the Fortnite space actually has access to their affiliate earnings. So what that means is, for example, if one of their fans actually goes to the store or the Fortnite store and actually purchases something, you actually have a referral code which will allow the brand itself, which is Fortnite here, to know that you came from a certain influencer or you were encouraged by a certain influencer to purchase these products or spend this amount of money, which then in return will give a percentage of whatever that you're spending to the creator that you're supporting. So I do know for a fact that Fortnite offers that. I don't know about other games, but I won't be surprised if an affiliate partnership for brands, affiliate partnerships for these esports games is actually quite common. So if you have a local partner or a game that you're really good at and you're popular, is something that you can actually inquire within the game that you're playing. Okay, so the first one is the level up program. The second one is branded streams. Third one is YouTube AdSense, and the fourth one is affiliate earnings. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about some of the advantages, right, of being a Malaysian influencer, and I can think of three. The first thing is I think the community is small. If you compare us to neighboring countries like Indonesia and Thailand, we are definitely much smaller. And what that means is it allows more opportunities for you to stand out. I mean, when you think about the sheer population of Thailand, Indonesia, or even the United States, there are so many gamers there. And even if you are a really good gamer, you need to have really good content in order to stand out. And when you're faced with a smaller population or a smaller community, it just allows you and gives you a bit more confidence that, hey, if you're even 8 in terms of your content creation or you're 7 out of 10 in terms of a skilled player, you have a real good chance of being a KOL within the esports space in Malaysia. So don't think of it as, oh, I stay in Malaysia, I might not get as many opportunities, or I can't compare myself to the Indonesian KOLs. I think there's a strong confidence that you can get that the fact that our community is smaller and there's a lot more opportunities for you to stand out. So if you are not coming out as a competitive player, can you be an entertaining player? If you're not an entertaining player, can you stream funnier types of games, right? Maybe less competitive games. So the world is literally your shell. You can actually think about what you want to do. And there's so many examples you can find from all of our different creators online. So I would say it's a limitless type of thinking. Second thing is, I know for a fact that there are various government initiatives, especially within the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They have introduced a few initiatives to support local esports community. This includes training. They also host local competitions because those competitions are the ones that will help build your name. They will help you gain more experience. And of course, prize money always helps to weather the storm for a lot of these esports teams. So I would say government initiatives is something that you can look into. Last but not least, like I said, community of gamers is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, that I've seen in terms of all the other verticals. When you talk about tech, when you talk about lifestyle, when you talk about fashion. So I think with this strong community of gamers in Malaysia, and I would say especially in mobile gaming, because mobile gaming is a bit more accessible for Malaysians, I think you can leverage on mobile gaming to sort of build a name for yourself, right? This means that you need to be a little bit smarter in terms of picking the games that you want to play. So whilst I understand, yes, Worm IO is fun, or driving a bus or truck simulator is fun. These may not be as popular in Malaysia. So if you're trying to build a name for yourself, you might want to consider going into popular games such as PUBG, such as Mobile Legends, or even Call of Duty Mobile, right? So picking the games that are popular within the community is a good start. And like I said, you need to be consistent and you need to have really do a bit more research in terms of the different contents you can create. You don't necessarily need to be a skilled player. Like I said, you can be more of an entertaining player. Or if you believe you're a very, very skilled player and you want to go into it competitively, there's no reason to stop you from going towards that direction. So I would say it's really up to you. All right, let's look at some of the disadvantages. I mean, obviously, there are some fallbacks. And if you can see the picture on my right, this is sort of a short list of different games that a lot of streamers are streaming and people are consuming. So you can see Mobile Legends obviously at the top with about 8.3 million followers. You have PUBG at 16.1 million followers, Garena Free Fire at 13.9, Grand Theft Auto at 7.7. So this is not just Malaysia statistics. This is just general within the Facebook gaming space. To me, I think one of the biggest disadvantages is language barrier. I think to excel within the Malaysian space, you need to definitely speak in Bahasa Malaysia. But then this might not translate as well when you go outside of Malaysia, right? I think Thailand goes through this as well. Indonesia goes through this as well. But the market is just so huge that speaking the Thai language still makes sense within the Thailand space. So for Malaysia, especially for creators who start out, I think you need to consider using Bahasa Malaysia as your main language if you want to start making a name for yourself within the local market. English definitely has a space in it, but excuse me, it's going to be a little bit more challenging, right? I mean, the population within Malaysia is predominantly Malay speaking. I would say 70 to 80% of it. So as a creator starting, you may want to consider using Bahasa Malaysia. It's not a must, but language barrier is definitely something that you need to consider. Second thing is the variety of games in Malaysia actually is still quite low. What I mean is when you go to mature markets like Indonesia or even the US, or US I'm a bit more familiar, is there are a lot of different games that are playing, right? Can be, Fallout Guys, it can be like different types of games like Minecraft, which is not very popular here in Malaysia, but Minecraft is huge, right, within the US space. Whereas in Malaysia, we still stick to popular titles such as your PUBG, your Mobile Legends, your Free Fire. So if you're doing other content that are not within these sort of names, you probably have less opportunities to get noticed. So I would say that's another disadvantage to some of our Malaysian creators as well. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that short 30 seconds video. This is actually a big news that we recently sort of shared with everyone. I think the last month or two or so. And that news is we've actually just signed a esports brand, or we just created an esports brand in collaboration with another company. So we've actually named it Almighty. In the next slide, you can see we've officially created a esports brand called Almighty. Almighty is actually an existing esports team that we've acquired together with them to now turn it into a brand and actually expand the vision of Almighty, right? And within the next slide, I want to give you a bit of an idea of what Almighty means to us and why we've actually invested into this space. So if you do not know, I want to maybe track back a little bit. Other than the influencer marketing business, we also have a talent agency business where we manage talents, we sign talents, we groom talents. And one of the newest extension to that is actually esport talent. And we're starting that with our acquisition of Almighty, or this joint collaboration with Almighty, right? Almighty's vision is actually to be a leading lifestyle and entertainment brand that is born from online gaming, right? Our mission is to produce innovative content and products that make a positive impact within the gaming community. So the team is actually based out of Gushcloud and a collaboration with a company called NextGen, which is a gaming talent management and entertainment company, which obviously has created Almighty from scratch and also manages Almighty. The next slide is just an example of the merchandise that we're coming out from. I mean, I think it looks great. Some of them are already wearing it, so I can show you later pictures of the players wearing them. But that's just a little bit tease on some of the lines that we're coming up with. So it is going to be a brand on its own. We're not just focused on just the competitive gaming scene, but we're interested in turning it into a lifestyle brand as well. Some of our values, I won't go too deep into it. Obviously, we care a lot about innovation. We care a lot about honor. And most importantly, we care a lot about sportsmanship. The last two is actually integrity. And also, we have to be excellent in whatever that we do. So at a glance, I kind of want to show you some of the things or what Almighty is all about. Almighty has primarily focuses in Singapore. They started in Singapore. There are three main teams that we represent now. One of them is Call of Duty Mobile. The other one is Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and also Free Fire, which is based out of the Philippines, right? Hold on, let me show you the next slide. Some of the creators that we actually manage within Almighty includes your live streamers, includes your YouTubers, Instagram influencers, and also shoutcasters. So shoutcasters obviously are the ones commentating on the shows, commentating on the stream. So those are the shoutcasters. So the audience that we have within the Almighty space, 45% of them are Gen Zs, 35% are millennials, right? Very, very common. I think esports is definitely a lot more prevalent within the Gen Z than there is in the millennials time. 7 out of 10 identify themselves as male. It's very common as well. Of course, some of the top interests includes your gaming, sports, electronic and computers, clothes and shoes, cars and motorbikes. Very, very guy things. Language and diversity, 50% of them are English, 35% of them are Bahasa, and we have 1% Tagalog because of our presence in Philippines. So in a nutshell, I don't want to go too deep into Almighty as a whole, but I think going into the Almighty space or on the space of representing esports talents is something that is here to stay. This is only one of the first sort of esports teams that we are collaborating with. There's a lot more to come, and we do aim to grow Almighty brand in a rapid pace within the next 2 to 3 years, because we believe gaming is here to stay. We believe gaming is an untapped advertising opportunity for a lot of brands, and we believe in the gaming community, right? And to sort of back what we're trying to say is, in a nutshell, Almighty actually has 11 million fans around Southeast Asia. We have 24 hours of content uploaded and streamed daily, and we have more than 5% engagement rate on all of our content, right? This shows that just a small team, or not a small team, just the size of this team, although we don't have a lot of members, are already making a huge impact within the Southeast Asia region, and we aim to make an even greater impact within the next 2 to 3 years. So that's just our concept. We always talk about being stronger together. So the next picture that you see is actually a picture of the recent signing that we did, and we also released a press release in Singapore and also in Japan. So you see the team, and of course you see some of the members from our Gushcloud organization as well. And of course, these are the new t-shirts that I was actually wanted to share with you guys as well. They look really good. I'm waiting to get mine as well, but if any of you guys ever get an opportunity to cop some of these merchandise yourself, I would recommend it. I think we were going to price it at a really reasonable price. Lastly, I just wanted to show you a little bit of those creators that we've signed within the Almighty space. So the first one is a creator in Singapore called Zhen Xiong, if I pronounce his word correctly. 90 million YouTube views, 1.3 million YouTube subs, 630,000 Instagram followers, 200,000 Facebook followers, and he's primarily based in Singapore. And this is the same thing that I'm trying to explain to a lot of you in the beginning of the slides, right? The market size, yes, it does pose an interesting challenge to you, but it does not mean that you cannot be a good content creator or can be a successful content creator. So I think maybe showing you guys some of these creators would give a lot of the young ones out there motivation to be the next creator. If a Singaporean can do it within such a small place in Singapore, I don't see why a Malaysian can't excel within a bigger space. We also have Sky, 10 million YouTube views with only 164k subs, with about almost 250,000 Instagram followers. I'm not going to go into too much detail in terms of the rest. But you see, of course, there are also a lot of female content creators. I'm sure a lot of you gaming content consumers out there would also understand there's also definitely an appeal with girl or female creators. Not just because, guys in general, prefer to look at girls when gaming. But I think a lot of the female gamers, especially the ones that I talk to, like Yingzi, they're very passionate with their games. They're very skilled actually in their games as well. So I love it that the gaming community actually encourages more female to actually step up as well to be creators, not just consumers. You have another one called Jenny in Singapore, and yeah, that's about it. So, in a nutshell, just to sum things up, I want to answer a few common questions that I normally get asked. I think the first is, can I be a gaming influencer within Malaysia? Yes. Is it difficult to get there? Nothing is easy. I would say if you are consistent and you have passion for it, I would say go for it. I have a few close friends of mine also who recently started gaming and or recently started streaming on a regular basis, and I try my best to give them my support. I try my best to share their content across to other platforms as well. I do what I can. Of course, not every creator is going to make it, but I think everyone can find some form of motivation. Everyone can find some form of happiness from doing this. Don't do it for the money. I mean, that's easier said than done. Do it for the passion. And if you have the right mentality, you have the right work attitude, you have the right passion, I'm sure you'll get somewhere. And just don't give up lah. So I would say that is my answer to whether or not you can be. Can you actually earn income from it? Most definitely. I don't see a reason why you can't earn a significant income from gamers. I know a few gamers who make a very, very steady monthly income. I mean, if you even just Google solos, you can actually see a lot of articles talking about his monthly income. But I think monthly income is there. Opportunities to earn is there. The next thing is just to, I guess, move and get started. And if you ever have doubt, you're not sure what you want to do, you're not sure what you should do, I think just do your research on Google, just do your research on YouTube, watch other streamers, watch other content creators on Facebook, try to see what they're doing and see if you can get inspiration from them. And I guess that's it for my presentation today. I hope you've taken something that you can relate to. I hope you learned something. And do your best to support the gaming community. I know a lot of people a lot of streamers who are only have 100 viewers at one time or 200 viewers at one time, but we all have to start somewhere. So I do my best to support the gaming community, and I hope you guys will too. Thank you. What are your requirements when deciding to take on an influencer under Gushcloud's wing? Of course, we have to look at the following. I mean, that's one of the first criteria. Of course, it's not solely just the following. We look at the engagement rates as well. We look at the type of content that they produce. Is it a niche content? Is it a popular content that we can sort of like build and grow? There are a couple of things, but I would say the following is number one. Your engagement rate is number two. The quality of your content is number three. And then I guess the most important bit of it is, do we like you as a person? Do we like you as an influencer? Do we like what you're doing? And if we don't, then it's going to be difficult for us to put you under our wing. But those are the four main criteria that I can think of. When did you start taking in esports influencers? What made Gushcloud invest in it? I mean, personally, this decision is actually done from my bosses, of course, senior management in Singapore. Have decided that look, esports is something that we need to invest in. But on my personal note, I'm also a consumer of esports content. I play esports myself, not on a competitive level, but understand the benefits of it. I understand the attraction to it. So
I'm quite bullish on it as well. We started perhaps maybe the middle of last year was on negotiations, and I think things came into fruition quarter 4 of last year, and then officially this year we then just kickstarted it with Almighty, and then of course in our Japanese offices we also have signed agreements with different gaming um, communities as well. So it's definitely part of what we want to do. There's a lot of benefit to it. I can see it for Malaysia as well. I think it takes people like us, industry people like us, to start educating some of our clients or brands to just then start exploring into the esports space. Influencers hard to work with. How do you overcome superstar behavior? That's a good question. I mean, the general consensus with working influencers has never been easy. I think I would be lying if I said every uh, experience working with them is easy. I mean, I've worked outside of the esports space. I've worked with a lot of celebrities in Malaysia. I wouldn't name any of them, but anyone that you can think of, I probably worked with them before. Superstar attitudes, of course, once in a while we do get those. We do get influencers and celebrities who have their own way of doing things, and sometimes are quite stubborn. We just try our best to be professional. I think the moment you stop being professional, that's when um, people try to take advantage of that or try to change the situation. But I mean, so far in our experience of doing this business for 7 years, I mean, we've survived. I think just by staying professional, there's only so many things you can do. You're working with human beings, right? You're not working with robots. So, of course, emotions are involved. So, do your best. End of the day, the client still needs the campaign to be delivered. Finish the campaign. If you think that this person is not, suitable for you to work with in the future, then you don't stop working with them. So, it's as simple as that. Say, stay professional. That's probably the best way to sum it up. Does the streaming platform matter? Yes, because there's a few ways to look at it, right? If you are streaming on a unknown platform or a platform that's not so popular in Malaysia, for example, I mean, compared to Facebook, Twitch is obviously less popular in Malaysia. And if you say, okay, look, I'm going to give 100% of 110% of my effort into Twitch, but then you don't see the growth that you want to, then it's going to be tough because generally you already know that Malaysians don't watch Twitch. However, there are reasons that you could use to go into Twitch, which are probably you want to be one of the few people who are into Twitch because everyone's on Facebook, right? You want to differentiate yourself. So I may not have 100,000 views or 10,000 views, but I have 5,000 views and they're purely on Twitch. And Twitch, of course, has better rewards program for their streamers. Of course, the system works better than Facebook. But my opinion is you should always go for popular content platforms. Facebook is one, YouTube is one. Of course, YouTube is not as popular as Facebook yet, but platform is important. If you've already started, you've gotten the hang of it, you've done your research, and now you're trying to improve, then yes, platform is important. But to start off, does platform matter? I don't think so because all about starting out. It's about investing into good quality production equipments, putting time into your own content, not just following other people's content, and I guess just grinding. And grinding is the most important thing. Uh, so streaming platforms matter when you're trying to refine the way you stream. It does not matter if you are just starting out. What advice do you have for aspiring influencers or content creators who are just starting out? What makes someone a successful influencer? I think you have to have grit, lah. So grit is something that I learned from a few videos in the past. And grit means the ability something that you're very passionate in, or the ability to stick to something that you've committed to for a very long time. And it's really a good way to sum up how certain influencers are more successful than the others, or certain esports players get more opportunities and are more successful compared to other esports players. It's really the consistency and the hard work. uh, like our older generations will not understand how esports players can make money. I think they find it very difficult to understand, and especially if you call them athletes, is also, so not everyone can understand why esports players are called athletes, but they are actually athletes, right? They put 8 to 12 hours of their daily time into their craft, whether it's training, whether it's learning tactics, whether it's psychology. They put the hours in. So same as an influencer, you have to put the hours in. And unfortunately, as a streamer, you literally need to stream for a long time on a consistent basis to even get a solid start of a fan base, right? Um, One of our ex-influencers, Yinze, I remember she streams for like 10 to 12 hours a day. She starts from anywhere from things 7, 8 p.m. or in the noon. She does 2 sessions all the way up to like 12, and then she edits her videos, and then she replies to comments, she replies to emails, and then she goes to bed like 1 or 2 a.m. So it's amazing how a lot of them can do it. I personally find it very challenging, but you need to, I just don't think too much about the secret key to success. It's really about your hard work. And then once you get the flow going, then you start getting opinions from others. You start gathering feedbacks, and then you ask yourself, okay, what else can I do? Then then you slowly take it from there. But I would say, look at it as a long-term commitment. You have to love it. You can't say like I want to do it for the money, because look, if you're doing it for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and you're not getting any money from it, I can tell you your motivation is going to run out unless you're truly passionate about it. So start it. There's really nothing much to lose, and stay consistent. How to overcome toxic audience when you are trying to be an influencer? Um, I mean, haters are always going to be there, right? No matter where you are, the more famous you are, the more that you're going to be a target. So you have to have strong resolve. You have to have strong values. Only speak up when you feel like you need to correct someone. Speak up if you feel like you need to make a point for yourself. Don't give in to those negativity. I mean, we manage a few YouTubers as well here in Malaysia. And of course, when we first starting out, you get a lot of hate comments, you get a lot of negative comments, even with influencers that we sign, we still get a lot of that as well. Uh, Ignoring it is one. Of course, you don't have to pay too much attention to it, because you really don't care about these people, right? Like if you want to give me criticism, you give me constructively. Don't give it in a way that it's condescending. Don't give it a way that's aggressive or negative. If anyone gives any of our influencers constructive criticism, I always tell them, yes, you should accept it, because this person is spending some time to explain to you how you could do better. So you should always be open to opinions. But if they're trying to be toxic, they're trying to be very negative, very condescending, then it's completely okay to ignore them. I don't think ignoring them is being afraid. I think ignoring them just shows that really I don't need this type of comment. I don't need this type of people in my life. So I would say stay patient. Really ask yourself about your own values. And if you ever want to reply to any of these hate comments, just reply in a way that there will not be extra bullets for these people to then talk bad about you. So just stay professional, I think, is one of the ways as well. But a lot of people mistake being silent as avoiding or being scared. I don't think that's the case. Being silent can also mean a lot of things when you're very firm about what you believe in. So sometimes staying quiet is probably the best thing to do. What criteria do you look for in influencers when you are reviewing them? For collaborations, management, is what I reflect that makes you decline working with them. Of course, we look at the standard stuff like followers, we look at ER, we look at your engagement, we look at the percentage of engagement. So is it higher than the industry average or not? Then we look at the type of content you create. You create generally acceptable content? Are you posting contents that are somewhat explicit that most brands might not have the appetite for? we make sure we check those things, and everything is okay, and we say, okay, look, he has a good following of about maybe 50 to 100,000. For that's for like micro influencers, and you go anything above that is macro. Oops, sorry. Then you look at the engagement rates. Let's say it's 3%, 4%. That's above industry benchmark. Excellent. The content they created so far is quite clean. They don't post any negativity. They don't talk about politics. They don't talk about um, anything condescending about anyone else. Then you're sort of past the first test. And then second test, of course, looking at their pricing. Are they overpriced? Are they underpriced? Are they at a good price? And then red flags for me will be when you are very negative on your platform. You talk bad about others continuously. You've had maybe some influencers do pranks, public pranks, and sometimes these pranks just go overboard, and those are the things that we don't want to associate ourselves with. Because if you're working with a big brand like Nestle, any opportunity for a bad PR crisis is something that we always avoid. So we try not to work with people like that. So red flags should definitely be, do you actively talk about politics in a negative manner? Do you share negative messages all the time? Do you post about things that you're not supposed to? Those are some of the red flags I would see. Most of them don't, but of course there are some influencers who like to thrive on all this negative press. The more negativity they get, they feel like they want to ride on that negative fame. So those are the influencers we don't want to associate ourselves with. If your engagement rate is way too low, that also is a sign to us that there could be some ghost followers. There's no sure way of telling it, but because we've done it for quite some time, we can actually tell if your engagement rate is actually true or not. So then that's how we will decide, I guess. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for taking time off your day to watch my presentation, and thanks for asking all the questions. I hope I was able to answer some of them. Thank you so much for KBS for organizing and supporting this event. Thank you, Esports Integrated, for inviting me to this talk as well. Today's a public holiday. I hope you guys have a good off day, and hopefully if you ever see me on the streets, please say hi, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.